Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today, or if you're joining at a later date, that's great as well. We are going to start in just another moment or two. You don't need any props for class today. And this is going to be a nice, slow flow, great for all levels. So just do what makes sense for your body. Today, as you kind of come into a comfortable seated position, I'd love for us to bring in the intention of change and transformation. And some of the ways we practice this when we're on our mat are just by noticing how the breath changes the moment we pay attention to it, or noticing the mental and physical changes from the beginning of our practice to the end of our practice. So, of course, anyone who's experienced a yoga class knows that there's this shift that happens. Some days it's greater than others, some classes it's greater than others, but there's always this constant change and transformation that we're experiencing. And with that idea is the idea of impermanence, that nothing really is ever changing, or nothing is ever staying the same. We can, again, take that onto our experience on the mat, physical movements that are challenging or might be hard, knowing that they will not last forever, they too shall pass. But then taking that out to a bigger experience, maybe you're getting caught up in the routine or monotony of our current situation, of being at home, and just reminding yourself, yoga helps teach us that this is also an impermanent experience. We will not be here forever. And sometimes when we can just take ourselves out of that mindset of, the unknown, what is coming, and knowing that it's not going to last forever, even though we may not know what's to come, can take us back a little bit and calm us down. So some of the ways we're going to explore that is with a really nice slow flow. So we're going to hold some poses today, and the idea is to stick with it, find that kind of strength and perseverance in the body, but also reminding yourself that these postures, what you're experiencing is not going to last forever. Remembering to please, please, please always listen to your body. Do what makes sense for you. If you need to modify, we are going to be doing a little bit of balancing in Warrior 3 pose. So if you would like to have a chair or some blocks or even a coffee table, something close by at the end of your mat that you can reach onto, that would be a great option. So let's start in our centering pose, seated however feels comfortable for you. Sit up nice and tall, start to root down towards the floor. We'll roll the shoulders back and down and just start to tune in to anything you're experiencing that brings you into the moment. Sounds, sensations. And maybe noticing that first change, that first transformation of what happens when you pay attention to the breath. I'm going to start off our class today with a little quote, and then we'll read it again at the end of class, and just noticing how it feels. It is because of impermanence that not only do painful times pass, but also great opportunity come. It is due to the beautiful fact that nothing is fixed or written in stone that we are able to transform. Continue to find that deep breath, nice and slow, in through the nose, maybe adding a short pause at the end of your inhale, and a short pause at the end of your exhale. At the very end of your next breath, gather your hands at the heart center. We'll drop the chin towards the chest, surrendering the wisdom of the mind to the compassion of the heart. And feel free to bring in this intention of change and transformation, the reminder of impermanence that our yoga practice brings us. Or if there's something else entirely that you or personally want to use as a reminder throughout class, feel free to bring that in now. We'll seal it with a breath. Reach those hands back down. Blink the eyes open, roll the shoulders back and down, and gently lift the gaze back into the room. Good. We'll lean back on the seat. Just switch the cross of the legs in the opposite direction. And we're going to start warming up the shoulders and the arms. So reach those hands forward, palms facing in towards one another, and we'll interweave the fingers. Push the palms out in front. Slide the shoulder blades back, drop them away from the ears, and give the head and neck a little shake. Take one more inhale, and then we're going to reach those hands up towards the ceiling. Good. Feel free to add a little bend into the elbow, especially if those shoulders start to creep up towards the ears. But pushing up, so giving some resistance or pushing against some resistance to find that warming effect around the top of the shoulders and into the neck. Good. Take one more big inhale. Give the head and neck a little shake. Good. And then we're going to drop the chin towards the chest. Pull the pinky fingers back any amount. And take about 2 more breaths. Just noticing that shift and change from the beginning of the posture. One more inhale. We're going to twist all the way to the left, so bring that right hand behind you. Left hand behind you, excuse me. And then go over to the other side. We'll do both, so just twist in whichever direction is best for you. Good. Hold on to the outside of the knee. Lengthen the spine. One more big inhale. Exhale, looking behind over that back shoulder. And then bring it back, facing forward again. Good. Roll those shoulders back and down a few times, and then bring the hands out in front again. Interweave the fingers. Try for the opposite direction, and then push the palms forward. Good. So it may feel a little odd having the fingers weaved in the opposite direction. Check in here. Pull the shoulder blades back and away from the ears, and then slowly start to come up. Good. From here, find that movement side to side, lengthening up all the way from the rib cage up into the hands. Shake out the head and neck. And then we're going to start to lift the gaze this time. Feel a little lift in the chest. Again, feel free to bend those elbows anytime you feel the shoulders are closing up around the neck. We want to keep that neck and shoulders open. Good. See if you can lift up and breathe all the way down into the bottom of the heart. Exhale completely. Keep pulling those pinky fingers back. Make sure not to strain the low back here. We're lifting from the upper body. And then exhale, we'll release those hands. Twist to the opposite side, whichever way you did not twist before. Inhale, reach up, find a little deeper movement. And then exhale. Good, looking back. Oh, come all the way back to center. Good, give those shoulders another roll. And then we're going to move that warming up down into the lower part of the torso as we circle around. So you're going to inhale as you lean forward. Good, hands can be on the knees. And exhale as you draw back. Think about bringing the belly button in at this point. And then keep moving in the same direction. Inhale, leaning forward. You might start to feel some sensations down through the hips. Good. Keep moving around. Make sure those shoulders don't creep up towards the ears. Let's do about 2 more. And then pause when you come back to center and just reverse in the opposite direction. So still inhaling when you lean forward and exhale as you lean back. Good, getting all around the waist, the hips, glutes. Just noticing any sensations that come up, so they may be little reminders of things we want to be careful of as we move throughout class. Or they might be areas that feel a little tight and we really need to focus on deepening and getting some of that stuck energy that's in those areas. One more all the way around with the breath. Back to center, good. Roll those shoulders back and down. We're going to come all the way down onto the back just to work on a few things to warm up the core. If you're sitting on anything, just move that out of the way. And as you come down, nice and slow, make sure that the low back comes in contact with the floor. Good, so we don't want to find that little space where our hands can fit underneath. We want to push the low back into the floor, good. So one of my favorite poses to work on this idea of impermanence is chair pose. I know it's a favorite of so many. Kidding. This posture, we're going to start practicing it on the floor just to give us a little deeper awareness. So we're going to start by setting up the legs. Our knees and our ankles and our hips are at about a 90-degree angle. So see if you can set that up. You want the same space between your knees as is between the feet. So that might mean they're coming all the way together or they're slightly apart, but just make sure that their legs are parallel. And then you want to be able to see your big toes just barely over the knees. Good. You're already going to notice that the core has to engage here and pull its way down towards the low back. Good. From here, we're going to reach the hands down next to the hips and then pull the shoulders off the floor. Good. Gazing towards the big toes. See if you can spread those toes out. And then find the breath here. Good. Take another full inhale. Make sure you're not straining the back of the neck to lift the head. It's nice and relaxed. And exhale, hands onto the kneecaps. And just draw nice big circles with those knees. Good. Similar to our movement when we were seated, except this time we're moving the lower body as the upper body stays pretty stationary. One or two more in that same direction. And then we'll come all the way back up. Good. Set it up once more. So we'll flex those feet. Notice if your knees are pulling in. That's going to make it a little easier. See if you can push the thighs away. Yeah, so you start to really feel that low belly, and you're also going to feel on the top of the thighs. Good. This time we're going to try to lift the hands. Take a big inhale. Bring those hands up to reach to the wall behind you. Draw the chin slightly towards the chest, and then pull those shoulder blades off the floor. Gaze towards the big toes. Make sure you can see your toes past the knees. Good, so we always want to make sure those shins are moving back. Good, might feel a little different with just the addition of the arms. Noticing what happens. Good, you immediately say that you need to leave the pose. Or can you find a little bit longer to spend here? Knowing that it will not last forever. One more full breath. Stay for the full exhale. Hands on the kneecaps. And then circle it around other direction. So just move opposite from what you just did. Release that holding onto in the belly here. You can cross the ankles. You can have them side by side. Good. So just remembering some of those aspects of our chair on the floor when we start to do it in our standing series. Good. At the end of the next breath, we're going to send the hands out to the sides and just drop those legs to the right. Quick little twist here, opening up the back. Push down through the back of both shoulder blades. Take a few long inhales, releasing the belly, just twisting out, opening, wringing out the spine. Good. Gather in that strength through the core. Pull the legs back up and then over to the other side. Good. Nice job. Spread out through those arms. Palms facing up. Relax through the head and neck. Take about 2 or 3 breaths. Work our way back to center. Good, and we're going to start to rock and roll up and down the spine. So if this is not appropriate for you, you are going to meet in a tabletop position. You can just roll to one side and push yourself up. Otherwise, we're going to start to work our way up and down. Massaging the spine, get a little playful with it, as long as it feels good for you. So if it doesn't feel good, no need to do it. 1 or 2 more. And after that last one, we're going to cross the shins, come up and over, into your tabletop. Good. Starting to press down into the hands. We're going to spread out through all 10 fingers, root down into the knees, and then start to find your way into your cat-cow. So we've done quite a few other movements already. If there's some other things you want to bring into your cat-cow, feel free to do that here. So some options are to kind of let the hips go side to side. You can make your cat-cow a little bit more circular as it kind of weaves in and out. So just some options to play around with. Taking child's pose here or at any time throughout class that you need a little rest. Good, let's take one more. Good, and we're going to do one more movement with the breath. This is called a barrel roll. So we want to move the torso like we're on the inside of a barrel, kind of scraping the edges of the barrel. So we start by bringing the torso over to the side. We move down, and then we bring it up and over. So we kind of incorporate those aspects of our cat-cow movement. But we start to bring it side to side. So add a little bend into the elbow to get those arms warmed up. Good. Pull the belly button in as you round the back to come up to reach the top of the barrel. Warming up the core. Good. Take one more in this direction. You might even get some snap, crackle, pops out of the knees. And then reverse the direction opposite way. Good. Seeing if you can get a little deeper as you get the hang of the movement. And if you're not sure what this movement's supposed to feel like, just make it up. Good, 1 or 2 more. Come all the way back to your tabletop position. We'll walk those hands 1 full handprint forward. Toes tuck under. Press down into the entire palm. Look for those spaces between each finger and lift up to your downward facing dog. Keep the knees bent to start. Relax the head. We'll take a full inhale here. Lift up from the very top of the hamstrings right under your bottom. Keep those knees bent as you press the chest back. Give the head and neck a little shake. Last full inhale with the knees bent. And then slowly start to open up the back of the legs, straightening them out any amount. Doesn't mean they'll straighten all the way. And then push those heels in the direction of the floor. And again, does not mean that they will touch the floor. 2 more breaths here, just finding that opening space throughout the back line of the body, from the head to the heels. And then lower down. We'll widen out the knees, push the hips back towards the heels, make your way into a child's pose. Good, we're going to take our downward dog again. This time adding in a little movement, so feel free to bring in whatever feels good for you. Walk those hands forward. Tuck your toes under. Roll the shoulders back and down and lift it up. Focusing always first on the shoulders where they're placed on the chest pressing back. And then you can start to open up. So noticing if you pedal out those legs, do the shoulders start to round forward more into a plank position? See if you can keep them pressing back. Good. Maybe even slowing down that pedaling of the legs so you can really hold one leg nice and straight, the other deeply bent. Inhale all the way. Exhale all the way. Other side. Push one heel down, other deeply bent, heel lifted. And then back to center and tabletop position. Good. This time in between, we're going to do our puppy pose. So we're keeping our hips lifted, and we're going to slide our hands forward to open up the chest. Good. You can come down to the chin or even let the forehead come down to the floor, really getting into those shoulders, the chest, that cool area that we call the armpit chest in yoga, opening all of that up around the rib cage. When you're ready, slide those hands back up. Good, nice job. We'll come into our last downward facing dog, and then we're going to use this to walk to the top of the mat. So set up those hands, push down into the whole palm. Inhale, lift both knees, bend both knees, and push the chest back. Good, feel the hips lift a little higher, heels lift a little higher. And then see if you can open up the back of the legs, straightening them out any amount, push the heels towards the floor. Try that again. Lift the heels, bend the knees, lift the hips. And then open up the legs, push the heels down. Good. Last time, bend the knees, lift the heels, lift the hips without letting those shoulders come forward. And then open everything up. Find a nice full stretch for a full inhale, full exhale. Bend the knees, look forward to the top of the mat, and slowly start to walk into your forward fold. Good, we're going to come about halfway forward, lift the chest, look out in front. You can use blocks, your coffee table, hands on shins or thighs. Good, slight bend in knees is perfectly fine. Flattening the back, lengthening the chest forward, and then exhale, we'll fold deeply. Good, try that about 2 more times. So we'll inhale, lengthen out in front. Exhale, fold deeply. Very last one. Good, and do your next exhale. We'll bend the knees, tuck the tailbone under, and start to roll up the spine 1 vertebrae at a time. Good, root down into those feet so you stay grounded. Roll the shoulders back and down. The very last thing to lift is the head into your Tadasana pose. Close the eyes, check back in. Good, noticing those changes, shifts, transformations that have occurred already. Good. Blink those eyes back open. And we'll start to move into some of our standing poses. So root down into those feet. Roll the shoulders back and down. And then we're going to take the right hand to the hip. Left hand's going to reach all the way up. Good. I'll do this facing forward. It's a little easier to see. Push that right hand into the hip. And then let that left side open up. Good. As the hips move to the left. Good. We'll do both sides here, so if you're doing the wrong side, no worries. See if you can look up on the inside of that arm. Feeling that opening all the way up through the side body. Exhale, draw the belly in, back to center, and over to the other side. Good, hand down, opposite hand up, and push those hips over. So we want that stretch to come down through the side, but then all the way down through the hip as well. Good. And of course, you can step your feet a little closer together. I'm modifying for my body. Do what makes sense for you. If this throws off balance, feet can be even wider than mine. One more inhale. Exhale, we'll work our way back to center. Good. We're going to bring those hands to the lower back, right at the sacrum, that flat part above your butt. Fists or palms press in, whichever feels best for you, and then pull the elbows together. Feel that opening in the chest. Inhale, we'll push the hips forward. So again, we start that movement from the hips, working it up the torso. Let the shoulders slide down the back, collarbones open, head lifts. A slight engaging of the back of the body, the glutes, to protect the low back and scoop the tailbone under. Maybe look up, inhale all the way. Exhale all the way. One more. Good, gather in through the belly, pull all the way back up, hands walk towards the front of the hips. And then we're going to sit back into our Utkatasana pose. So let those hips reach way back. Good. Reminder of some of the things we worked on in our Utkatasana on the floor. Of course, it'll feel a little different, but we want to make sure that the same distance that's between our knees is also between the feet. So check in and make sure we're aligned there. We also want to make sure you can see your big toes. So if you're here and the knees are way past the ankles, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the knees. So move those shins and hips back. Okay. And then roll the shoulders back, look out in front, and reach the fingertips back to the sides of the hips. Good. Notice if you're lifting with your chin. So you're putting way too much of a strain on the neck. Draw the chin to the chest, lengthen through the back of the head, and then push the hips down a little further, lengthening the spine. Check in, make sure you can still see those big toes. One more full inhale. Good, lifting the right leg. We're gonna step back into a warrior one position. See if you can hover it first. Step back with control. Good. You may need to bring your left foot forward. And then check in here. Good, back heel is down. Hips and shoulders are facing the shorter side of your mat. Roll your shoulders back and down, check in. Inhale, we'll reach those fingertips up. Good, coming all the way up into our upward facing hands pose, making sure that you didn't let that hip and shoulder open. We're keeping them facing towards the front of the room. Nice job. Check in. See if you can bend that left knee a little deeper. One more inhale. Exhale, we'll open it up into our warrior two. Good. Reach out. See if you can toe heel the feet a little wider stance. And then deepen into that left leg or whatever leg is the bent leg. Good. We're trying to build up that sensation in the front leg, but not so much that all the work is pouring into that front leg. So check in and make sure that you're pushing down through the back leg, especially that inner groin. You can even just give a little press on that outer hip, and you're going to feel a lot more into that inner leg. Good. Hands can always rest at hips or bring them back up for one more inhale. And then we'll take it to our reverse warrior. Back hand slides down the back leg, front hand lifts up. Keep that front knee bent, so don't come out of your bent knee at all. One more big inhale. Exhale, straighten the front leg, reach out and over into your triangle pose. Hand can come above or below the knee. Pull the shoulders back, reach up through that top hand. And reach down through the bottom at the same time, squeezing the inner thighs, slightly feel them drawing in and up. Very last one. Exhale, we'll bend the left knee, reach both hands down towards the floor. Coming into a high lunge position, pivot the back heel up. You can shorten your stance if you need to. And then you're bending that front knee deeply, making sure the knee stays over the ankle and doesn't go past. Good. From here, drop those hips nice and low and pull the heart forward. Good, nice job. Take another inhale. And then we're going to start to push down a little bit more into that left foot. Reach your back right foot to tap forward and fingertips forward. Block, chair, coffee table here, great options. Push so much into that left foot that the right foot starts to lift up off the floor. Keep the standing left leg bent. Pull the heart forward. Good. Take one more inhale. See if you have a little bit more space to straighten the standing leg, possibly lift the right heel without letting the hip rotate. So we don't want to be here. We want to keep the toes pointing down towards the floor. Take one more inhale. Exhale, bend left knee again. Right foot meets into our Utkatasana pose. Good, nice job. Chair pose, awkward pose. Whatever you want to call it. You might have a whole new name for it. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, check back in, and then reach the arms up. Look between the hands, sit the hips a little lower for 3, 2, 1. Reach all the way up. Inhale. Side out, exhale out to the sides. Awesome, great job. Good, roll those shoulders back and down, and we'll meet in our Tadasana pose once again for the other side. From here, push down into the feet, roll the shoulders back and down, pull the chin to the chest, lengthen the back of the head. Good. Inhale, reach. Let's do the right hand up first, left hand on the hip, and find your way into a little side bend. Stay here with the bottom hand on the hip, or you can start to reach that bottom hand down, almost like you're going to touch your ankle as the top hand reaches up, making sure that you're not losing the control at the center of the body. So you don't want to draw your hips forward and put pressure on your low back. Keep the core engaged. Inhale all the way. Exhale, draw it back up, and switch the arms. So either that opposite hand comes down to the hip, or you can start to reach it down. Good. Seeing if this brings you a little deeper. One more. And then bring it back up. Good. Both hands reach to the low back, or if you'd like to interweave the fingers, you can do that as well. Root down into the feet. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the chest, and then push the hips slightly forward. Good. Keep the knuckles drawing towards the floor. You can lift the chest. Last one. Good. Draw it all the way back up. Good. Begin to release the hands just to rest down to the sides. Pull the hips back towards the heels, or push the hips down towards the heels, and sit down into your Utkatasana pose. Doing that little check on the knees, on the shins moving back. Notice if you're holding on for dear life with the toes, see if you can lift them up and spread them out. And then squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the chest, relax the muscles of the face. Another full inhale, push into the right foot, step back with the left foot. Warrior one position. Back heel is down. Hips are square to the short edge of your mat, and then reach it all the way up. Good, take an inhale. Slide the shoulders down the back. Keep that front knee bent. One more full breath. Open it all the way up, warrior two. Toe heel the feet a little wider. Facing the hips and shoulders are open to face the long edge of your mat. And then really deepen into that front leg. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, reach out. Check in if all the weight's pouring into that front leg. Push down through that outer left hip, just enough to feel that groin working. Good, finding the balance in between both legs. Good. One more inhale. Keep the front knee bent, reach it back, reverse warrior. The other part of this exploration of impermanence is the release that comes when we finally make the change. So come out of a pose, when we finally get to that place of transformation, even if it's just in a few seconds or it's over a lifetime. So just finding those little areas of celebration, even if it just means getting out of a pose that is challenging for the body. What that feels like. Shift into your triangle when you're ready. Good. Hips and shoulders are still open towards that long edge of the mat. One more breath. And then bring that top hand all the way down, coming into your high lunge position. We're going to pivot the back heel up, drop the hips nice and low. Good. Pull the heart forward, finding that lunge. Nice job. Good. At the end of the next exhale, we're going to root down into that right foot, start to tap the left heel in, walk the hands forward, and seeing if you can lift up. So it might be kind of a slow process of tapping up and down a few times. That's perfectly fine. Good. If you get that sensation, leaning forward enough so that it feels natural to lift the back leg off the floor. All that power is coming down into the standing bent right leg. With your next inhale, maybe pushing into the foot, creating a little bit more space. Rotating the inside of the left thigh towards the ceiling. One more big inhale. Stay with it. Exhale, bend both knees, step the left foot next to the right. Make your way up into your chair. Good, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then add those arms when you're ready. Gazing up in between the hands. 2 more breaths. Good, reach it all the way up. Big inhale. Sigh it out to the side. Good, nice job. All right, we're going to take just a few more standing poses before finishing up. So let's make our way into Tadasana again. Just checking our time real quick. Roll the shoulders back and down. Good. This time we're going to inhale all the way up. Bring both hands together. Extend the pointer finger and the thumb. And we're just going to go side to side for our side bends. Think about pulling the bottom hand up to create a little extra space. At the end of the next exhale, we'll move our way back to center. Inhale, push the hips forward, lengthen up. Little tiny back bend, just as much as you can. And then exhale, bend the knees, swan dive all the way forward into your forward fold. Keep the knees bent on your way down. Good, inhale, we'll look halfway forward. Shift onto the front of the feet, let the heels get lighter, maybe lift. And then exhale, fold and deepen. Good, try that 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen the spine, maybe lift the heels. And then exhale, you fold and deepen. Last one on your own. Good. From this position, root down into those feet. Find the stance. Same space between the feet and the knees, and start to sit back into your chair pose. Reach those hands straight forward. Plug the shoulders back. Good. Check in that you can see your big toes. And then see if you can start to lift the hands up. Good. Inhale all the way. Notice if you're holding on with the toes. See if you can let the toes hover. Good. We're going to be here for 5, 4, 3, still smiling, 2, and 1. Lift the right leg, slowly start to step it back, high lunge position, so let the toe come down. Good, check in. You can use the floor, hands down for a little balance, or bring it right up into that high lunge. Good, nice drop. Check in, see how this feels. You can always space the feet a little wider. Sometimes when we step back, our foot just lands wherever, and then we need to correct it. Let's take another inhale. Exhale, we'll open it up into our warrior 2. Good, reach out through those fingertips, deepen into that front leg, and settle. Good. Reach it back, reverse warrior. This time you can take that bottom hand and slide it across the low back, maybe around to that left hip. You can give it a little tug even, and then reach it up. One more inhale. Exhale, left knee comes down, or left elbow comes down to the knee, and then pull that right arm from the low back and reach it up. Good. We're in our side angle pose. Feel free to stay here. If you want to deepen, start to reach the palm down towards the floor and bring that hand in line with the body. And of course, if you like to deepen more, you can slide this hand down a little deeper. I'm going to keep mine on my knee. Good. Notice if you're kind of barely bending the left knee, that means this hip is going to be lifted. See if you can drop that down so you have a deep bend in that left leg. We're going to settle in here for a few more breaths. So find that depth and then stay with it. Last one. Both hands come down. Pivot the back heel up and then start to come into your warrior 3. Good. Come in a little quicker this time. Option to lift the hands. They can come to heart center. They can go out to the side, or they might even reach back or forward. Standing leg can stay bent, working to be straight when the time is right. If that sacrifices the rotation of the hip, keep the standing leg bent. One more full inhale. Step right into Utkatasana. Inhale all the way. Exhale, settle it down. Breath, mind, body, letting everything settle. And then reach it up. Big sigh. Last side here. We're going to inhale, reach it up. Palms come together. Pointer finger and thumb release, and we move side to side. Good. Working out some of that we just did. So noticing what it feels like after those shifts and changes. Inhale, back opening, back bending, back extension. All the words for it. Exhale, swan dive forward. Just one half lift, so we're going to pull the heart forward. Great place to realign the stance of the feet. So for me, I step my feet just a little bit wider. And then I'm going to deepen into that forward fold. Hands can walk back towards the legs. Hold on to the knees, the calves. Release the back of the head. Take about 2 or 3 breaths here. Knowing what's coming. Take one more big exhale. And then sit those hips back. Good. Check in. Reach the hands back. And then all the way up. Good. Or you can also start with them shoulder height. And then reach them up. Pull the head back. Lengthening the spine. Sit those hips nice and low. Check back in on the toes. See if they can hover. Good. We're coming into those 5 breath cycles. Maybe even close the eyes. Relax the muscles of the face. See if you can find that ease in other areas of the body, the fingers, the toes. Last full inhale and exhale. Push into the right foot, lift the left foot, step all the way back, high lunge, toe is down, heel is lifted, and then lift it up if you need that balance. Fingertips reach down and then rise. Bend the front knee, settle in. Good. One more inhale, open it up, warrior 2. Good, check in on that even position between both feet. One more full breath. Hand slides across the low back, top fingertips lift up. Good, you can reach around towards that right hip crease. And then slowly start to bring the right elbow down to the right knee. Make sure as you do that you're creating a line from the shoulder down to the ankle so that knee's not falling in. Release that back left arm. Come up side angle. Stay here. Or you can turn the palm down. Fingertips come to hover and then drop the hip with you. So if you're not feeling much in that front leg, do a little more. Notice what the mind wants to do when you get into that difficult place. Is it already looking for something to think about? Seeing if you can just stay with the breath. Let the sensations of the posture hold your awareness. One more breath. Good. Pivot down towards the floor. Step that left foot in. Good. And then warrior 3. Good. Feel free to keep the hands down, or for that last variation, bring the hands to any position that feels good for you. Standing knee bent, especially to keep those hips square as much as possible. Last one. Bend both knees. Sit it back. Utkatasana. Very last Utkatasana, so make it joyous and enjoyable and grateful for every little bit of movement, even in a challenging pose. Last full breath. Next inhale reaches us up. Big sigh out through the mouth. Awesome, great job. All right, let's step the feet a little bit wider. Good. Toes are off the mat, kind of pointed out to the side, heels stay on, and then we're going to settle those hips down. Good, Malasana pose. Nice deep squat here. If you need to stack some blankets or a pillow under your hips, that's perfectly fine. Hands come to heart center, or they can stay down on the floor. Good. Let that warmth that we've created in the legs start to reach up into the hips, the glutes, the low back. Good. Using this pose to transition into lizard pose, another great posture for working on that sense of impermanence. So bring those fingertips down. Good. Lift the hips about halfway up and start to step the right foot back. Good. And then slowly lower. So we're starting off with the back knee lifted. Hands can come down. And then start to open up your left knee. Good. Actually going to show you on this side so you can see a little better. So as you open up that left knee, it's going to fall open, but the back leg is staying lifted. Feel free to take your left hand to the inside of that knee and twist a little bit more. Good. One more big inhale. And then you can release that back leg down, untuck the back toes. Stay here in that twisted opening of the hip, or bring both hands down. You can also bring the forearms down. Good. Some options for that leg, that front leg, are to turn the toes out to the side. You can also lift the inside of the foot so you're getting a little pressure on the outer ankle, outer pinky edge of the foot, not really the ankle. Just enough to feel that stretch come up. So do what makes sense for you. A little movement, swaying, can keep your awareness with the sensations, but not holding tension. So let that movement ease some of that tension. Good. At the end of the next exhale, we're going to step back up to Malasana. So bring those hands up. Tuck the back toes under, big step or a few little steps, Malasana pose. And then the opposite leg goes back. So this time, it'll be your left leg going back, if you're following along with me. Good. Inhale, pull forward. Get length in the spine, and then push into the right hand. Left knee starts to open. Back leg stays lifted, so we find that extension first. And then we start to bring it down. Stay here in that twist, or you can start to bring the forearms or hands down to the floor. Soften through the muscles of the face, neck and shoulders. Take one or two more full breaths here. We're going to come back up into Malasana pose, so tuck the back toe under. Step it up when you're ready. Good. Sit down, Malasana. And then reach it all the way out, wide forward fold. Toes start to point towards the short edge of the mat, but you keep that wide stance. Let the head relax. Hands can be down, or you can cross at opposite elbow and just add a little movement, swaying side to side. Let it release. Great opportunity, since the legs are wider and nice and warm, to feel that lift through the back of the legs. Again, notice if you're sitting back in the heels. See if you can shift the hips forward. Even giving them a little massage here can help release those hamstrings if they're really tight. Good, that little sway can help add some movement. Take two more full breaths. Feel free to sigh out. We'll work our way back to center. Good. Bend those knees. Sit the hips all the way down. You can come to sit or one knee at a time. And then we're going to roll onto our back. So find the center of the mat. Hook the hands right behind the knees and roll on down. Good. When you get there, we're going to pull the knees into the chest just to check in on the low back. Rock side to side or circle those knees around again. And just like our malasana pose that we just did, we're going to come into a happy baby pose. So think about making the feet just as wide as they were a moment ago. So we'll flex those feet, reach them up towards the ceiling like you're standing on the ceiling. Pull the knees towards the armpits. Good. Feel free to keep the hands here, or you can reach up towards those feet. Good. Little movement side to side. If the whole tailbone and bottom are lifting, see if you can push the low back towards the floor. Good. Feel free to stay here. There's lots of ways to get playful with it by extending one leg and then the other. You could even kind of rock up into a plow pose from here. So feel free to explore anything else your body might need. Taking about 2 or 3 more breaths. And then gently extending out into our final relaxation. Good. Setting yourself up, if you have props at home that you like to use, feel free to bring them in. Good. Giving permission for the feet to fall open, letting go of effort. Roll the shoulders back, down, and under. Let the palms face up. Draw the chin ever so slightly to the chest. And just noticing that change and transformation that has occurred here on your mat in just under an hour. And if that kind of shift and change can happen in that amount of time, in just this one place, in just your body, what can happen out in the world if more and more people are practicing a sense of gratitude, of mindfulness, of ease? Good. Any state that we're in right now is impermanent. And we won't be here forever. As you start to wiggle the fingers and toes, roll the wrists and ankles, moving slowly and intentionally to come up to a seated pose. I'll share our reading once more. It is because of impermanence that not only do painful times pass, but also great opportunities come. It is due to the beautiful fact that nothing is fixed or written in stone that we are able to transform. Gathering your hands at the heart center, once again surrendering the wisdom of the mind to the compassion of the heart. Thank you for joining me in this transformation on your mat today. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you.